SAO is very bad. The writing is garbage and the characters are awful. The Room is unironically much better.
Oh, hi, Mark.
If you're actually looking for something good to watch, then check out the MonsterVerse movies. They're pretty awesome. In this video, I want to focus on Godzilla King of the Monsters because I feel like it's really underappreciated. Critics didn't like it, but I personally enjoyed the movie. Let's take a look at what's great about Godzilla King of the Monsters and why it's better than SAO.
Godzilla King of the Monsters is a 2019 American monster movie. It's a sequel to Godzilla 2014 and the third movie in Legendary's MonsterVerse. Godzilla King of the Monsters received mixed reviews from critics, but audiences really liked it. In this video, let's take a look at everything great about Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's cool how this movie opens with the classic Godzilla roar. This movie really gives Godzilla fans everything they could hope for in a Godzilla movie. This is an amazing intro that helps connect the movie to Godzilla 2014. It goes to show that there are lasting consequences to what happened in the previous MonsterVerse movies. You can see this protester is holding a sign that says "Destroy all monsters." This sign makes sense in the context, but it's also a reference to the 1968 Japanese movie Destroy All Monsters. That's a nice little Easter egg. This movie has a bunch of awesome Easter eggs and references. Right from the start, Mothra is more gentle towards humans than any of the other monsters we've seen in the MonsterVerse movies. Instead of slaughtering the humans, Mothra simply tosses them aside or pins them to the wall with webbing. This definitely fits with Mothra's personality, as she's a largely heroic character. Charles Dance does an excellent job playing the main villain of this movie, Alan Jonah. He's quite ruthless. English actors always make compelling villains. Ken Watanabe's lines in this movie are epic. His strong Japanese accent makes everything sound much cooler. It's neat how the device is called Orca. This is a reference to the 1975 movie Jaws. Orca is the name of the fishing vessel in that movie. King Ghidorah in this movie is a metaphor for climate change, just like how Godzilla is a metaphor for nuclear war. The melting of the polar ice caps would have eventually freed King Ghidorah. Furthermore, King Ghidorah is able to destabilize the weather, just like how human activity in real life has caused abnormal weather patterns and permanent damage to the atmosphere. Some incredible visual effects for King Ghidorah. He looks very menacing and intimidating. The visual effects for all the monsters in this movie are incredible. This entire battle scene between Godzilla and King Ghidorah is outstanding. This movie definitely delivers a lot of spectacular kaiju action. One of the major complaints about Godzilla 2014 was that there wasn't enough action. This movie certainly makes up for that tenfold. It's quite bold of the movie to kill off one of the important characters early on. It goes to show that anyone could die at any moment. Usually movies are scared to kill off important characters, and that makes it seem like there are no stakes involved. However, this movie is able to avoid that mistake. In fact, several more important characters will die during this movie as well. The entire Rodan scene is magnificent. The action in this movie is very impressive and makes the movie worth watching for that aspect alone. Whoa, this pilot ejected right into Rodan's mouth. They certainly did a great job making all the death scenes very brutal. It's exactly what you want in a giant monster movie. It's fitting how the weapon is called the Oxygen Destroyer. That was also the name of the weapon from the original 1954 Godzilla movie. The Oxygen Destroyer was invented by Dr. Daisuke Serizawa in that movie. Another exceptional fight here between Godzilla and King Ghidorah. Godzilla ripping off one of King Ghidorah's heads is just straight up savage. This shot is very ominous and sinister. The world is doomed now that King Ghidorah is free. You can really get a sense of the despair that the characters are feeling right now. This conversation is extremely tragic and heartbreaking. You can tell that Dr. Emma Russell had pure intentions at the start, but she was corrupted by her guilt over the loss of Andrew and went way too far in the end. This is a reference to Mothra's tiny twin female fairies. They first appeared in the 1961 Mothra movie, and they're known as the Shobijin. Mothra's Shobijin act as her link to humanity, and they can telepathically communicate with Mothra and translate her messages. King Ghidorah being an alien is consistent with the previous kaiju movies. King Ghidorah is said to have come from outer space and was responsible for destroying many planets, including Venus. This is a very heartfelt and sincere conversation between Dr. Serizawa and Mark. They've both lost people close to them, so they know how the other person feels. Dr. Serizawa's pocket watch shows that it's 8:15. 8:15 is actually the precise moment when the nuclear weapon, Little Boy, was dropped on Hiroshima on Monday, August 6, 1945. This is an excellent Easter egg that helps remind us of the symbolism of the Godzilla character. This is a glorious cinematic parallel to the original 1954 Godzilla movie. The Dr. Serizawa Serizawa of that movie sacrificed himself to kill Godzilla. The Dr. Serizawa of this movie sacrifices himself to save Godzilla. You can see a statue of Pazuzu here. Pazuzu is the main antagonist of the Exorcist movies. Director Michael Dougherty mainly comes from a horror background and explained that The Exorcist is one of his favorite horror movies of all time.
Serizawa, let him fight action. I used to love it when he said that.
This is a terrific reference to Godzilla 2014. Dr. Serizawa's "Let Them Fight" line is quite iconic and well known. King Ghidorah dropping Godzilla like a meteor is both awesome and terrifying. Again, the fight scenes in this movie are phenomenal. This is a nice parallel to Mothra. Dr. Emma Russell sacrifices herself to save Madison and Mark, just like how Mothra sacrifices herself to heal Godzilla and save his life. Whoa, this is epic. This final fight scene is incredible. Furthermore, Godzilla has only ever been killed by two things: the oxygen destroyer and achieving burning form. In this movie, Godzilla faces both and survives. Now it makes sense where the movie's subtitle, King of the Monsters, comes from. Having defeated King Ghidorah, Godzilla is the true king of the monsters. The movie began with Godzilla's classic roar and ends with Godzilla's classic roar. That's very fitting. This is a lovely tease for the next movie. I'm sure that all the kaiju fans are eagerly awaiting to see Godzilla fight against Kong. Kong didn't appear in this movie, and the Kong Skull Island movie took place in the 1970s, so you really don't know what to expect. The post-credits scene is fantastic. There's a lot of things that could happen in the sequel. Perhaps we'll see Mecha King Ghidorah. In the 1991 movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, scientists from the future resurrect King Ghidorah and create Mecha King Ghidorah. And that's it. Godzilla King of the Monsters would go on to be a box office disappointment. What did you think of Godzilla King of the Monsters? Let me know your opinion in the comments below.
As you can see, Godzilla King of the Monsters is an absolute thrill ride from beginning to end. The movie packs a punch with its colossal monsters, wrecking cities and engaging in jaw-dropping battles. The special effects are out of this world, making the monsters appear incredibly imposing. The sheer scale of destruction and the visual spectacle keep you glued to the screen, delivering an adrenaline-pumping experience that leaves you in awe. Each action sequence is a visual feast, filled with epic moments that make your heart race. SAO storytelling struggles to deliver the same level of immersive engagement and cinematic brilliance. Godzilla King of the Monsters surpasses SAO, with its compelling narrative and breathtaking visuals that leave a lasting impact on viewers. SAO is a complete and utter dumpster fire on a hot day. It's full of missed opportunities and letdowns. The characters are as bland as unbuttered toast, and the story feels like it's been put through a blender without a lid. It's a mess of rushed plots and forced drama that leaves you scratching your head, wondering why you just wasted your time watching it. The attempts at romance are so shallow they barely make a puddle, and don't even get me started on the logic. SAO is about as consistent as the weather in a tornado. Overall, it's like biting into a cookie, only to realize it's made of cardboard. While Godzilla King of the Monsters is pretty great, my current favorite MonsterVerse movie is Godzilla vs. Kong. You should check it out. Here's everything you should know before watching the movie. Godzilla vs. Kong is the fourth movie in Legendary's MonsterVerse. It's a sequel to both Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island. Additionally, Godzilla vs. Kong is also the 36th Godzilla movie and the 12th King Kong movie. In this video, I'll explain everything we know so far about Godzilla vs. Kong. Let's get started. To begin with, here's the official premise of Godzilla vs. Kong. In a time when monsters walk the earth, humanity's fight for its future sets Godzilla and Kong on a collision course that will see the two most powerful forces of nature on the planet collide in a spectacular battle for the ages. As Monarch embarks on a perilous mission into fantastic, uncharted terrain, unearthing clues to the Titan's very origins, a human conspiracy threatens to wipe the creatures, both good and bad, from the face of the earth forever. Kong and his protectors undertake a perilous journey to find his true home, and with them is Gia, a young orphan girl with whom he has formed a unique and powerful bond. But they unexpectedly find themselves in the path of an enraged Godzilla, cutting a swath of destruction across the globe. The epic clash between the two titans, instigated by unseen forces, is only the beginning of the mystery that lies deep within the core of the earth. Godzilla vs. Kong was directed by Adam Wingard, who also directed other horror movies, like You're Next, The Guest, and Death Note 2017. The movie's screenplay was written by Eric Pearson and Max Borenstein. Eric Pearson also wrote the screenplay for the Black Widow movie. Max Borenstein previously worked on the other three MonsterVerse movies, Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Next up, let's take a look at the cast members. First of all, we have Alexander Skarsgård. He's going to play a geologist named Nathan Lind, who works closely with Kong. In an interview with ET Canada, here's how Alexander Skarsgård described his character. He's not an alpha badass hero, which I thought was quite interesting. He is thrown into this very dangerous situation situation and is definitely not equipped for it, and that makes it a bit more interesting in my opinion than had he been a badass dude. He's just a tiny human trying to survive between these two behemoths. Afterwards, there's Millie Bobby Brown, who's reprising her role as Madison Russell from Godzilla King of the Monsters. As Godzilla and Kong battle, Madison will go on a journey to decide which one of them she will side with. Then we have some more newcomers. There's Rebecca Hall as Eileen Andrews, Brian Tyree Henry as Bernie Hayes, Shun Oguri as Ren Serizawa, Isa Gonzalez as Maya Simmons, Julian Dennison as Josh Valentine, Demian Bashir as Walter Simmons, Ronnie Chiang as Jay Wayne, Chris Chalk as Ben, John Perusello as Horace, and Lance Reddick as Monarch Director. Producer Alex Garcia has confirmed that Godzilla vs. Kong will not be a remake of the 1962 film King Kong vs. Godzilla. Moreover, Adam Wingard stated that Godzilla vs. Kong will tie in with Godzilla King of the Monsters. It will be set in modern times, and it will feature a more rugged and aged Kong. He also said that he wants the movie to have a definitive winner. I do want there to be a winner. The original film was very fun, but you feel a little let down that the movie doesn't take a definitive stance. People are still debating now who won in that original movie, you know. So I do want people to walk away from this film feeling like, okay, there is a winner. Furthermore, Adam Wingard talked about his approach for the monsters. I really want you to take those characters seriously. I want you to be emotionally invested, not just in the human characters, but actually in the monsters. It's a massive monster brawl movie. There's lots of monsters going crazy on each other, but at the end of the day, I want there to be an emotional drive to it. I want you to be emotionally invested in them. I think that's what's going to make it really cool. In the trailer, there's a brief scene of Kong fighting some Nozuki or warbats. These are winged snake-like monsters. Here's the official description of the warbats based on the toys. Powerful enough to tear through armored vehicles with its massive fangs. The warbats are venom wing monsters that hunt the hidden depths of the hollow earth. At the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, there was a post-credit scene where Alan Jonah and his team purchased King Ghidorah's severed head. This most likely means that we'll see King Ghidorah appear once again in Godzilla vs. Kong. People are speculating that it'll be a mechanized cybernetic version of King Ghidorah called Mecha King Ghidorah. Moreover, Mothra will also come back. Here's what Michael Dougherty, director of Godzilla King of the Monsters, said. Mothra never dies. Mothra always comes back. That's what I love about Mothra in all the Godzilla films. She represents that endless cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. She's so far above the other creatures, and us as a stupid species of talking monkeys, that she sees the bigger picture. She knows that her self-sacrifice is a noble one, that ultimately she wins. She knows that she will live on through her children. I like to think that her children have all the collective memories of the previous Mothras. According to some of the plot leaks, Mecha Godzilla could appear in Godzilla vs. Kong. There were also some toy leaks of Mecha Godzilla, so this supports the previous statement. Filming for Godzilla vs. Kong started in November 2018 and ended in April 2019. The movie was shot in Hawaii, Australia, and Hong Kong. Tom Holkenborg, also known as Junkie XL, will compose the music for Godzilla vs. Kong. He previously worked on movies like Mad Max Fury Road, Deadpool, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, The Dark Tower, Tomb Raider, Mortal Engines, Alita Battle Angel, Terminator Dark Fate, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Scoob. Ben Saracen was responsible for Godzilla vs. Kong cinematography. He previously worked on movies like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Unstoppable, Pain and Gain, World War Z, and The Mummy. Josh Schaefer edited Godzilla vs. Kong. He also worked on Pacific Rim Uprising and Molly's Game. Godzilla vs. Kong's budget was somewhere between $160 million to $200 million. And that's everything we know so far. How excited are you for Godzilla vs. Kong? Let me know your opinion in the comments below. I really enjoyed the previous MonsterVerse movies, so I'm definitely looking forward to Godzilla vs. Kong. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.